Hello everyone, back into today's third video. So we're going to have a look at the weather for next week, 10 days for today's third video. That's going to take us to around the 1st of June, and we'll be able to extend out beyond that, the extended GFS and ECM ensembles over to around a couple of weeks. So have a look at CFS-B2 for June at the end of the video. Talking about CFS, we've released Jan, May, Friday today, so that's the month look ahead with Japanese and CFS-B2 models. Few hints of a rather mixed start to June, perhaps, but we'll wait and see about that. And also, the weekend forecast for Europe as well has been released also. So check out all of the videos when you have done with this. At the end of this video, I'm going to talk you through everything that's coming up over the weekend. It's going to be a very, very busy weekend of updates at GAS, where there's lots and lots of content coming up. So I'll talk you through what's happening at the end of the video. But before I do anything else, I'm going to say a big thank you to our latest YouTube channel member. So hello and thank you very much, and hello and thank you so much to our latest channel member, Graham Doolan. Thank you so much, Graham Doolan, for becoming our latest Gazworthy's YouTube channel member. It's absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much, Graham, for doing that. If you would like to become a channel member for Gazworthy's, all you need to do is come to the Gazworthy's YouTube homepage, click the join button that you see there, and that will take you through to another page where you see what benefits you get from becoming a channel member, and also you can sign up on that page. You can also become a channel member with join button with all of the videos as well on the channel. So the join button is with all the videos as well. You can't see the join button, some people can't on mobile and tablet devices, then there's a link within the description with video, and also we linked it on the homepage at gazworthy.com as well. So thank you so much to all of our channel members. We opened the channel up to membership around a month ago. YouTube gave us that opportunity, and it's been a really phenomenal response actually. So thank you so much to all of our channel members. That's absolutely amazing. Thank you so much everyone for doing that. Of course, so we've also got our patrons and donors as well, so big thank you so much to all of the patrons and donors for Gazworthy's. And as I keep saying, our promise to you for the support that you're giving us is that we are going to keep on recording, we're going to keep on uploading, we're going to keep on live streaming, and bring you all of the written content at the website that you enjoy as well. So just huge thank you to everyone. Right, and a special thank you to Graham Doolan, of course. Right, let's get on with it. I'm going to start off with the GFS upper air temperature and precipitation ensembles for the next couple of weeks. So the red line is the 30-year upper air temperature average for Northampton. We're at Northampton today, very local to me. So at the moment we're around average with the upper air temperature. We're actually going to dip down below average in the next sort of 24 hours or so. And as we move through into the bank holiday weekend, we see the temperature lifting up again. So by bank holiday Monday, we're going to be back into warm or very warm conditions. It looks like these very warm conditions are going to last through much of next week. As we come towards the very end of May and into the beginning of June, that's this period just here, we do possibly see signs of the temperature dropping. There is quite a lot of scattering there, though. So these ensemble members up here are actually keeping things quite warm, very warm, through the first week of June. These ones down here are obviously much colder. That does include the latest GFS operational run, which is indicated by this thick green line. More about that in a moment, but you'll see that was one of the coldest runs for the beginning of June, and you're going to see something quite interesting with that in a couple of minutes. But there is a lot of scatter there, so although, I mean, we're definitively having a warm period next week, beyond that, the ensemble mean sort of goes back to average, which is the white line, but that's masking the fact that we have these warm members up here, things keeping it warm through the first week of June, and these cooler members down here. Precipitation-wise, loads of dry weather coming up over the next few days, through bank holiday weekend into the middle of next week. Perhaps signs of a little bit more of an unsettled interlude later next week. As you go into the beginning of June, there are some rainfall spikes there. They always look a little bit overdone to me on this new version of Wet Essentials. So I would suspect it's not as unsettled probably through the first week of June as that sort of indicates. Temperature anomalies on the 22nd of May to the 30th are very close to or a little bit above average for England and Wales, possibly very close to or a little bit below average for Scotland. Most of Western Europe looks generally slightly warmer than average, very warm over Spain and Portugal. Cold than average though on the eastern side of Europe. Have a look at the European weekend forecast that we released, first video up this morning. Precipitation anomalies on the 22nd of May to 30th. Bit wetter than average for northwest part of Scotland, otherwise near normal to a bit drier than average for the rest of the country. So that's how the GFS is looking for Monday. So on Monday, the Azores High is back in business. The Azores High is ridging up over the top of the country. We're going back to dry, fine and warm or very warm conditions again on Monday. Tuesday, again, the high pressure is dominating the weather. It's fine, it's dry, it's sunny, away from the far north of Scotland anyway, and it would be very warm as well, I think, on Tuesday, temperatures into the mid-20s Celsius at least. The fine and dry weather goes on into Wednesday. We might see temperatures going into the upper 20s Celsius through the middle part of next week, into the 80s Fahrenheit. I certainly wouldn't rule it out based on these charts. And as we come towards the end of next week, we still have an anticyclonic influence, but we are just beginning to see a bit of a weakening of the ridge. Notice how from, let's go back a couple of days, so notice how from Wednesday, when we're under that ridge definitively, to Thursday, we just see a slight weakening, but probably still mainly dry even up to the end of next week, really, for most places. But as we move up towards day 10, at the beginning of June, then we do start to see the high pressure pulling out to our west, and we start to bring some cooler air in from the northwest. That's all as we get to day 10. So this is the first day of June, first day of meteorological summer 2020. And it's still mainly dry actually for England and Wales. It is cooler, but it's still mainly dry for England and Wales. Scotland still looks a little bit on the showery side. Now look what the GFS does in the extended range. It pulls that high pressure out to our west. We call that a retrogression, when the high pressure goes from east to west as opposed to zonal, which is west to east. So we retrogress the high pressure out into the North Atlantic, and on the 2nd of June we start to pull down a cold northerly wind. This is all rather reminiscent of the 2nd of June 1975, when we had snow showers down into southern England. I'm sure there are people watching this video who remember that before I was born, but there's bound to be some people who remember the snow at the beginning of June 1975, was the 2nd of June 1975. So it's kind of reminiscent of that, really. It's not quite as cold as that, actually, with the upper air temperatures very on the 3rd, still keeping those northerly winds. Look at the upper air temperatures, not as cold as back in 1975, but it would certainly be a blow if it came off. We would certainly feel it. It would probably be enough to bring a return to overnight frost. I doubt there'd be much snow, but it'd probably be enough to bring a return to overnight frost for the beginning of June, which of course could cause all sorts of problems for gardeners and growers and farmers. Thankfully, as we see here, that idea of bringing down northerly winds in the start of June, it's not exactly an outlier, because there are some other GFS ensemble members going with that idea, I think. But it's certainly at the very coldest end of the range of options. So it's unlikely to verify. We can't totally rule it out, of course, but it looks relatively unlikely to verify. But certainly one to remember that northerly that this GFS run is pulling down on the 2nd and 3rd of June. Now, by the time we go through to the 5th, we're back under sort of a ridge of high pressure. It's turning mostly dry once again. And then it begins to turn more unsettled. By the time we get through to the 7th of June, it looks like it's just started to generate low pressure across Western Europe. So that's turning not only cooler, but it's also turning wetter as well. But of course, that's a very, very, very long way out. And it's going to be unreliable. This is how the GEM is looking. The Canadian model bring the Azores High back for Bank Holiday Monday, so mostly dry, fine, and very warm. Then we go through to Tuesday, and again we're under high pressure, loads of dry, fine, and warm or very warm conditions. This carries on into Wednesday as well. I think we could see temperatures at least of the mid-20s Celsius through the early middle part of next week, if not higher, maybe up to the upper 20s Celsius. And as we go through to the second half of next week, unlike what the GFS is showing, which takes that high pressure out to our west and begins to turn things, not exactly unsettled, but begins to turn things a little bit more showery and cooler through the second half next week, the GEM just keeps a high pressure routed over the top of the country. So the GEM suggests that even into the second half of next week and the final weekend of May, the GEM just wants to keep things dry, fine and warm, really, with high pressure ruling the roost. And that's how we finish up with the GEM as we get to the first day of June, meteorological summer. And, well, there's no issues with that. That's completely dry, fine and warm, very warm, possibly even hot with the GEM. So the GEM is really going to town again today on high pressure. And the ECMWF looks like this. So again, the Azores high is ridging in for Bank Holiday Monday, bringing a lot of dry and very warm weather with it, and that goes on through the course of next week. So this is Wednesday with the ECM, and I think we're seeing temperatures at least to the mid, if not the upper 20s Celsius then. And then through to Thursday and Friday, just starting to weaken pressure a little bit out to the northwest, similar to what the GFS shows around this period for the second half next week. So it might start to turn more showery in the north. I would have thought for England and Wales, it's still mostly dry and potentially warm. And then moving into the very extended range, we start to shift a wind round to the south. This is the last day of May, and we are starting to pull up some very warm winds now from France. There's the upper air temperature showing the plus 15 Celsius isotherm. It's getting pretty close to England and Wales. That could just about be enough to lift temperatures to 30 degrees before the end of May, or like on the last day of May. So could we get 30, 86 Fahrenheit before we actually begin meteorological summer? On that ECM solution, it is a possibility, but remember at this point the GFS is turning things cooler and rather more showery. By the time we get through to day 10, it looks like we've got a Fundry breakdown on our hands. This is the first day of June with the ECM, and it looks like bringing a trough of low pressure from off the Atlantic. And turning things cooler, yes, but also probably turning things rather thundery. This is a precipitation forecast based on that ECM run from Meteo.com. Wet and windy, of course, today. It's windy across the country, and we've also got gales in the northwest. It's wet up there as well. So for Scotland and Northern Ireland, you've gone back to pretty grim conditions up there. Tomorrow, showery rain or heavy rain continues, actually, across particularly northern and western parts of Scotland, and also coming down into Northern Ireland. Could be some heavy showers pushing eastwards across England and Wales as well. Then Sunday starts to calm down. The Azores high begins to make its move and comes back on Sunday. So everything calms down and warms up just in time for the spring bank holiday Monday. And lots of dry and fine and very warm weather continuing through much of next week. There's another pulse of rain coming through there across Scotland and Northern Ireland on the 22nd of May, but England and Wales remains dry. Further rain at times in the north and northwest around the 28th of May as well, but for England and Wales, the fine weather continues. And then as we move into the extended range, we start to pull up those hot winds from the south, potential for 30 degrees on the last day of May. But also the suggestion of a thundery breakdown. It doesn't look overly dramatic, but these are definitely showers, probably thundery showers, beginning to break out by the time we get through to the first day of June. This is the option that's on the table within the ECM ensembles today for day 10, which gets us to the first day of June. So we have 51 out of 51 members of the ECM ensembles, including the control and the operational run. That's going for a big area below average heights to be coming in from the north and the northwest. Jetstream is doing something a little bit like that. So there's just a breakdown going on there as we get through to the 3rd of June. So the operational idea, which is to have a breakdown, potentially a Fundry breakdown, by the first day of June, is well supported, very well supported actually, by its ensemble. So by the time you get through to the beginning of June, we're possibly seeing something of a Fundry breakdown after a very warm end to May. And then these are the options that we've got on the table for 2 weeks' time. This gets us to the 6th of June. And we have 15 members of the ECM ensembles with low pressure to our east, high pressure to our west. They're cool and unsettled with winds in from the north. 12 with low pressure to our south, high pressure up to our northeast. They're going to be quite unsettled too, but potentially quite warm. They could be a little bit thundery. 9 with an area of high pressure sort of centred over and slightly to the west of the country. A lot of dry weather and pretty warm weather involved with that. 8 with high pressure out to the west and to the northwest, and low pressure is sort of to our southeast. So they're going to be bringing in sort of an easterly type flow. Could be rather wet actually, that for southern eastern parts of the country. And 7 with a trough of low pressure over top of the country. So as we go through June and we discovered this with JMA Friday, really, as we go through the first week of June. There are just a few indications now, a few hints of, excuse me, a few hints through the first week of June of just something a little bit more unsettled, maybe. Maybe first week of meteorological summer will bring something just a little bit more unsettled. Some much needed rain, perhaps, for England and Wales. Talking of June, that's where we're going to finish this video. So this CFS V2 is currently forecasting June 2020 in terms of the 700 millibar height anomaly. So for June 2020, it has an area of above average heights out to our west and over towards Newfoundland. Quite an unusual position for high pressure to be sitting, but there it is. It's over towards Newfoundland. There's another area of high pressure, kind of like Western Russia to Eastern Europe. And then in between, there's no particular sort of trough of low pressure, but through this area here, you would probably think there's going to be the jet stream and a trough of low pressure. So, I mean, it doesn't actually show a trough of low pressure, but to me, that looks like, as we got the ridge over on the eastern side of Europe and in Western Russia, and a ridge over on the western side of the Atlantic around Newfoundland, the jet stream has got to be somewhere, and you'll think the jet is probably digging in the middle. So there could well be a dip in the jet stream in the 500 millibar flow there, and that could actually be a relatively unsettled signal for June. That might not be all that good for June, to be honest. Temperature anomalies for June with CFS-V2 are near normal, no particular signal. Precipitation anomalies, again, no particular signal. I think the model is struggling to work out what happens in between those two big areas of high pressure, one across the east of Europe and west of Russia, and the other one over towards Newfoundland and across the western part of the Atlantic. I think the model is struggling to work out what happens in between, but I would think that the jet stream is likely to be digging in with a trough of low pressure in between. And that could be rather unsettled for us, of course, in the west of Europe. Right then, so that's it for your videos for today. So I hope you found all the videos interesting and informative. Don't forget to give us a like on the videos, and you can share them, of course, across social media platforms, and subscribe to the YouTube channel as well if you'd like to do that. Now, we've got lots coming up over the weekend. So it's one of those weekends where everything is sort of coming together. So I've had a really, really busy week of it this week with a lot of late night recordings. But I'm on top of it all. I've already got the historic video done for Bank Holiday Monday. So let's start there. Bank Holiday Monday, we will have our historic video for the winter of 1941-1942. It's the third and final episode of the Frozen 40s trilogy. So that's going to be on Bank Holiday Monday. It's already done and in the can. So that will be Bank Holiday Monday. Tomorrow, Saturday, we're going to have a weekend forecast. We'll have a week to 10-day video update, and we'll have the Beijing Climate Centre versus CFS 6 months look ahead. So that'll be quite an interesting watch. On Sunday, we're going to have Gazworthy's Study Roundup. We'll have our last batch of summer analogues, which I'm just in the process of getting together. But last batch of summer analogues coming up on Sunday ahead of the summer forecast on the 31st of May. We'll have the ECWF Meteo France and DWD long range update on Sunday as well. And if that wasn't all enough, we are also going to be live streaming at 5 o'clock on Sunday afternoon. And in that one, I'm going to show you the Beijing Climate Centre forecast for the winter of 2020-21. So we showed you Tao Peng's forecast for winter 2020-21 in last Sunday's live stream. This Sunday's live stream, you'll be seeing at the Beijing Climate Centre for winter of 2020 and 2021. It should be quite an interesting watch. I think should be quite an interesting listen. Hopefully it'll work out better than Wednesday's live stream. Fingers crossed. So we'll see you then live on Sunday. But between now and then, there's going to be loads and loads of content coming up. So just keep checking back to the channel and to the website, and the content will keep coming. But for today's videos, that's all for now, and thanks for watching.